Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the Rangarajan Committee as well as the government's response, which is also very, very crucial. So in 2012, the Rangarajan Committee proposed certain solutions. The committee actually recommended decontrolling of the sugar industry, which means that the industry itself decides or regulates demand and supply, and it's not done by the government. But as you know, that this is politically very, very sensitive. Which government is going to agree? Because then the cane farmers are going to turn against the government if it is not accepted. Linking sugar cane prices with the market price of sugar was one such proposal. The government went against the Rangarajan Committee on decontrolling. Now this was expected. We know for a fact that this was expected. The government introduced sales quota limit on each firm and introduced something which is now popularly known as the minimum support price, or the MSP, which is actually the fulcrum of all the politics which is played around farmers. The government's quota limit actually created an artificial shortage. What else was happening? And you need to know this because this is significant. Sugar mills are unable to sell optimum quantity in the open market. The maximum sale quota restricts sell quantity of sugar. Higher prices and lower sales meant the same monthly revenue, and this actually leads to the inability to clear farmer dues. It's all a vicious cycle. You want to help the farmer, and thus you have created a sort of a quota that yes, your produce will be accepted. But then the sugar mills can't accept it because there is only so much sugar that they can produce. Plus add to that, there are artificial sweeteners also available, and thus sugarcane is not required. Then what do? That's why this crisis is created. Now, let me introduce my guest at this moment to discuss whether a government can afford. There is obviously, we have to look at practical solutions. But can the government at this moment afford to talk about practical solutions? Or will it have to immediately help the farmers because it makes political sense in a year as crucial as 2019? Vinod Kumar of the Telangana Pradesh Congress Committee is with us. Narayana, CPI National Secretary, is also with us. Vaibhav Agarwal of the BJP, and Nanditesh Nile, he's a political analyst, is also with us. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for discussing this crucial story. I'm going to begin with you, Nanditesh. Now my point is, this is a vicious cycle. You've got a government which promises an MSP. Now, while that is assured, they take their produce to the sugarcane mills. Now these sugar mills are unable to utilize so much because it makes no business sense, and thus they do not pay the dues to the farmers. This whole cycle keeps continuing. Who is it helping? At what point is the farmer benefiting? And don't you think a much more logical solution will be to accept the recommendations of the Rangarajan Committee of decontrol? Nanditesh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you repeat, Sanket, please?
Yeah, Nanditesh, short and sweet. My question to you is, this vicious cycle is going to continue. We have discussed this time and again. At what point will the government consider it practical to accept the recommendations of the Rangarajan Committee of decontrolling the pricing?
Sanket, the question is that it's all about the government commitment to solve this problem. Either this is a problem of the farmers or the problems of the sugarcane. So this is a serious question, and the first time the farmers are in the center. So if they are going to implement the Rangarajan Committee, everything will be sorted out. But when you see the problem of the farmers in relation to Swaminathan Committee or with the sugarcane, with the Rangarajan Committee, the problem is this is not a question of sugarcane. It's a serious question of the plight of the farmers. They are running in and around the for the price, because the question is the international price of the sugar is even less than the domestic price. So if the government is going to buy it, what they are going to do with it? The second part is why we are trying to put the farmers with the sugar cane only. We need to understand Why we are not trying to encourage them for other options? They should go for the other cereals, other pulses and other type of agriculture, because the demand and supply problem is so much in this country at present in terms of sugarcane. And Yogi Adityanath is talking in a very lighter vein that because the country is suffering from the diabetes and a lot of patients are from diabetes, so why we should not go for the other type of crops rather than the sugarcane? So the question is, if the government is not at all, if government is willing to solve this problem, then certainly it will be solved. But the question is whether the government is willing to solve the problem, why there is such a serious problem that there is
Let me ask that question.
which have been
Let me ask that question to the BJP spokesperson over here, who's the closest we can get to getting a response from the government. Mr. Agarwal, so the point that is being made over here is that you can again choose, and I'm being very practical. I'm being very practical when I say you can again choose, your party can choose to be populist in its measure by offering some minimum support, right? Because that would make sense in an election year. Or your party can be pragmatic and implement the suggestions of the Rangarajan Committee report, which talks about decontrolling the sugar industry.
Yeah, you have a valid point. You have a very valid point, and I'm not going to dispute that, Sanket. I've never disputed any of your points. You're one of the best anchors I debate with, and I enjoy my debates with. But I'll tell you, just because we have recommendations from the Rangarajan Committee, that doesn't mean that we should recommend it. Our approach towards the entire issue is the development of the overall farm sector. For example, I'm going to share with you, in last 5 years, what we've done.
No, we are talking about cane farmers right now. One moment. What you're telling me is a digression. I want to know about your government's solution for the cane farmers' problem. There are dues as high as 11,000 crore rupees. How do you solve this problem? In a crucial election year, your short-term solution will be offer another loan waiver. Offer or inject some money. Inject some money so that these dues are cleared.
Look, the dues have to be cleared, but you have to understand there are two parts to this entire exercise. One is the fair remunerative package. The other one is the state administered price, and the third one is the MSP. The MSP is into discussion right now. The